as you are.
Okay, I'm gonna call the Tuesday, June 24th meeting to order of the Public Health and Safety Standing Committee. And, thank you for the minutes. And
You're welcome.
I had a question on that last paragraph. You're talking about Dan, and it says he suggested in our area that from December 1st to March 1st would be an appropriate time frame to try to discourage bird feeding. But I thought he said that would be the time to go ahead and feed the birds when it's most needed.
Okay, good, all right.
Does that make sense?
Well, as you know, I write those things at midnight, so, so I will go back to.
11:58 p.m., yes, literally. So I would move to approve the minutes
Okay.
with the one correction.
Okay.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Do we all agree that we're gonna feed the birds, or Gardner feeds the birds between December 1st and March 1st?
We're gonna try to talk to the people about that. It's gonna be a difficult process, I think, but I think we need to start that in conversation.
Yes. So are they approved?
Approved.
Okay.
I moved it.
Thank you. And Chief Schrock, update from you.
No updates today.
No updates?
No, it's been fairly steady, but
How was the Songwriters Festival? Nothing,
nothing major.
no noise complaints or anything?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, good news. We'll invite them back, to say the least. And,
Well, I've got a question. I'm just,
Mm-hmm.
was there a meth bust in town? I heard about that.
Those are pretty much weekly.
That's still news to us.
I'm honestly trying to think. There's been so many, drug arrests within the last, I'd say, 2 years.
is that just following one thread and then it just keeps going and going?
Depends. There's different groups that we've looked into. They're not all connected now.
Is it from traffic stops or?
It's a multitude of, there's like a multitude of initiation processes. So a lot of them were traffic, but a lot of them too were, street investigative.
Wow.
Yeah. I can go back and look. I looked at our caseload for last week before I came in here, and I didn't see any major drug seizures. What did you hear?
Just that there was a meth ring bust.
I recall hearing something about an emergency transport that was somebody who'd been involved in a DUI or something the night before that was,
An emergency
that was
trip?
scan or chatter, but
One of my officers was involved in a fight the other night, and the guy that fought him was transported to the hospital, but other than that, no.
The guy was spotted.
Yeah. Yeah, let me get back to you on that. As a matter of fact, if you can go about your business. If you give me 5 minutes, I'll go look right now.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah,
Thank
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And we have guests today from the airport, so I'm assuming that you guys.
No, we're all Hauser Averages.
Yeah.
I'm done with the airport.
You sure? Okay,
I would, given that that our others just kind of a hash out,
yeah,
session, I'd be okay with having public comment or hear what folks are here for up front, so.
yeah.
But I think it has to do with, I think I know why you're here, and Chief Schrock needs to be here, correct? Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
well, they're,
Okay,
Good point.
okay. And, I know that Patty brought up about the speeding again at, front of Lions Park, and that's part of why we're all
Yeah,
here. Oh, okay.
yeah,
So-
thank you. That's
Stop
thanks to
signs,
Colleen.
speeding, and RVs parked on House.
Well, and amount of usage, busyness,
Yes,
amount of traffic.
that too.
Mm-hmm. And parked in the wrong way, so facing the
Some of
opposite
that.
direction.
And there's a mix.
Yeah.
Is it locals or is it,
Well, oh, yeah, it's, yes, but there's a lot of commercial traffic.
commercial.
IGA, Ace Hardware, they all need supplies, they have supply trucks frequently, I don't know if it's every day, but it's very frequent. They avoid Main Street, they wanna come down Hauser.
A lot of
And
construction work also,
But-
bringing in big, pieces of equipment, et cetera. Yeah, and that goes on all day.
in fact, one of the vehicles that I
Should we wait
Bob,
until it's
yeah,
done?
probably.
Yeah, and my only request for council is, as we get, remember that council does not direct staff, so just remember that as we have our conversation to pick our wording.
Wow. Okay, so, I know Ann, going back to our bears, we'll wait for the chief.
Well, I thought,
They connected, you might think they were
interesting,
connected?
interesting last week, that I think we got a lot of information that has greatly concerned me about feeding, attracting bears, and if it's true, it's not true, it's just that people are attracting wildlife for their webcams. I don't know how do you prove that? I don't know how you prove that, but it concerns me that is.
And I don't know how he attracts the animals.
Bird feeders.
Is that how he's
I
attracting?
mean, I'm just guessing.
Well, I know that we see the webcams all the time, and there are a variety of animals that wander through. I wonder why they wander through so much there, unless it's just a game trail, and,
Well, it's a back path, it's a nice path, I think, for them.
yeah,
But,
as long as he's not feeding
but
them.
his point 2 weeks ago was that, we worry about garbage, but the real problem is bird feeders that bring bears into the house, into the perimeter of the house.
Because the bird feeders are close to
Right
the
there,
house.
yeah. And he said that was a bigger problem than garbage.
I
Nothing to do about it, it's just interesting and what can we do? I don't know.
I'm trying to remember if it was in this meeting, what we did find out, or we did confirm that Gardner, I'm not sure that it's a larger issue than trash, I don't remember that part of the conversation. But we did find out that Gardner does not disallow it, they just say precautions must be made, whether that's an electric fence, they don't specify, there actually just says precautions must be made for bird feeders between the months of such and such and such and such.
And also, and I'm reading, doing the minutes the other night, 2 years ago, they had an electric fence demonstration at Roosevelt for fish wild, so he did mention that the other day, but I'd be curious if we could get another one, electric fence, demonstration, and I think there was a prize that somebody wanted a kid,
Oh, really?
So, but that was in July of '23, and, I'd be curious if we could get another one, or get electric fences, so anyway.
And a quick follow-up, I know that, the mayor said that you were gonna do, an inventory or cause to have an inventory of trash cans that are functioning properly.
We started
ongoing?
that yesterday, actually.
I assume you found a lot of them?
Interestingly, the first 3 cans that we did, while the news cameras were there, the first one didn't close, the second one didn't open, the third one worked.
Wow, 33% effective, huh?
Yeah, I think that was not representative, but that's what we're gonna do, the survey with the volunteer walkthroughs on it.
I know that mine never works properly, but, I should probably WD-40, the little latch, that would help. Otherwise,
Or the locking mechanism up top, where it latches, like up top, not the hook, but
I don't have one of those.
they don't.
No, mine just has that little latch.
You have the green one that's a side one?
You have to reach under, and then the latch is supposed to open a little,
It's like a swivel, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you slam it, it's supposed to,
There's a hook on top and a catch on the bottom
right,
when you shut it. Yeah, WD-40 that.
yeah.
Maybe,
Where should we start?
Okay, now that let's go ahead and take the public, would be my
Okay.
consent, it's not my meeting.
So let's go ahead to public comment. These are our representatives of Hauser Avenue.
Yeah, we have concerns about several issues. One, as we just mentioned, is the amount of traffic. There's apparently an incentive by the drivers, both locals, visitors, I don't know about visitors, and commercial vehicles that choose to avoid Main Street, and come down North Hauser. It's a variety of, vehicles. There are commercial vehicles that are supplying Ace Hardware and Beartooth Market. Those are large trucks. There's also construction trucks, that go down. For some reason, they want to avoid Broadway, and I would imagine because there's more, it's maybe a little tighter. There's crosswalks. I know that, I would guess that, the trucks serving Ace Hardware pull in and they want to come south on Hauser and turn left on 12th. Is that the right street? 11th, so they can pull into the parking in, on 11th at Ace and unload. Same thing with Beartooth Market. They want to come in apparently from the west and go east on 9th, to offload. Anyway, there's quite a bit of commercial traffic. And there's a stop sign at 5th and North Hauser, which is repeatedly blown, yeah, and not adhered to. So there are, those are some of the issues. There is a stop sign there at the corner, coming both north and south. I don't know, Jeff, and Colleen, I've seen more violations going north, but the speed is an issue too. The traffic, if they're on their way somewhere, the fact that it's a residential area has no bearing on their, we're all that way. I'm in my car to go somewhere, I want to get there, and there's a little disregard for speed, and certainly disregard for the stop sign at 5th. And I
Do
think
you think people are not stopping at the stop signs?
that's correct.
Absolutely not.
Because that's one of those things, just as an FYI, that I get a lot of feedback from that says, that's stupid that we have a stop sign for traffic that's basically going to a dead end and not through traffic. But whenever I have had conversations with Public Works and the officers, my understanding is the purpose of that is it does slow traffic down.
Yeah.
Or that's, meaning, and what I'm hearing here is that, yes, we ought not to be considering eliminating that stop sign or flipping its direction because it's serving a function.
It is absolutely
Correct.
serving a function,
Oh,
yet
sure.
there's blatant disregard for it.
So other than an awareness and enforcement, are there other suggestions that you have?
Paint.
I have a list of these that we brought up in 2023, if you want to hear them.
Sure.
And these mostly came from the U.S. Department of Transportation. Start with painting a straight white line across the street at the stop sign. Paint stop or slow in white letters on the asphalt at the stop sign. Speed bumps, these could be temporary as they could be removed in snow plowed season. That's one thing we've heard people say, oh, you can't have speed bumps because of snow plows. Okay, speed tables, those are wider than the speed bumps, and they gently go up and then go for a while and then down. I didn't know they were called that. Anyway, both bumps and tables need clear signage that these are in use. So you would have to post, these are coming. Rumble strips, warning signs, stop ahead, put orange cones by the stop signs, portable electric speed monitors. When not in use elsewhere, it could be placed on Hauser Avenue North. Continue with increased city police patrols. When we first brought this up, we did see more police, and that was in 2023. Use the Red Lodge buzz in Carbon County News to notify citizens of the safety problem, and there you go.
Can you refresh my memory? Where's the first place I encounter a 15 coming south on there?
That's Gretchen Orange House, right around there.
Yeah, just that it's, adjacent to Lions Park.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
Yep.
It's across from Lions Park.
Yeah, the playground
Are
area.
you talking about going southbound?
Southbound, yeah. Because I know there's one right next to IGA, but it seems to me like you see one prior to, I know,
Northbound.
I see it the other direction when it speeds up, and I'm assuming that the crossway is
The
there.
schools and, I guess, child congregation areas are where those are most common, sort of drop from 25 to 15.
Would you, do you have a copy of that you can submit to council that they can relay on to me, even though I've heard that?
Sure.
Um,
I have a copy right here for you guys. The stop sign that's, by Gretchen's house, the little triangle. I talked to people on the west side of the street, and people always go through it. They rarely
You mean
stop.
on Sixth Street uphill from Hauser?
I think it's the fifth,
No, it's
the sixth.
yeah, yeah, so that is a problem too. I'm not as aware because people on the west side of the street see it all the time.
What about additional stop signs? In other words, the commercial vehicles wouldn't, the reason they're not going down Broadway is because they have to stop for people walking across the side, you know, they have to be on top of their game. But if you had additional stop signs, like every block, that would dissuade the commercial vehicles. And it's a more permanent fix, winter, summer.
I don't know that that would have an effect. I mean, one of
I
the,
think it would.
Do you?
one of the vehicles that I saw go through the stop sign the other day was a Reese's food truck coming from Beartooth Market. I'm assuming the Beartooth Market, and going to what I spoke with Chief Schrock about last Monday. You know, it's not that the stop sign was not visible. It was visible, even with the camper trailer parked on the east side of the street. You could see the stop sign all the way down at, the kiddie park, you know, going northbound. Well, I don't know that an extra stop sign, yeah, it might start having an effect if you see, you know, more stop signs, or people might notice it a little bit more, and maybe be cognizant of the next one. But this guy just drove right on through like it wasn't even there.
I would disagree slightly. I think increased stop signs, the idea that knowing that when you're driving north and south on Hauser, there are gonna be some stop signs. Yeah, the fact that.
Some, yeah.
And I think the paint across perpendicular to the direction of travel would be effective, because I think the stop sign can be somewhat blocked by a vehicle. There's several trailers that, our neighbors have a trailer, and they park it there, and it can be affected. It is kind of a wide street. I'm a big proponent of paint.
I'd be more of a proponent of paint than more stop signs. I think you could start getting a lot more, you know, starting and stopping, and, you know, I think just the visibility of the stop sign that's at Fifth and Hauser, it's not bad. Like I said, even.
I think it's bad, Jeff. I disagree with you. I don't think it's sufficient.
Okay,
But
as another idea, we should talk to Beartooth Market and Ace Hardware and have them talk to their drivers as well.
Where do we want them to go?
Well,
We
one
want
of
them
the
to stay
things
on
that I'd like to
Broadway?
mention here is we cannot dictate the route in which commercial vehicles take.
No, I know that we cannot dictate.
Okay.
We can ask them that the residents on that street are complaining.
Yeah, maybe the retailer can speak to the drivers, but as far as like any type of like law enforcement action or mitigation or anything like that. Now, if they're violating traffic laws, yes, obviously it can be dealt with by police officers. However,
It can't be everywhere.
I'd
will-
like to tweak that, because, and I'm not saying we should, but I'm very used to being places where there's ordinances where commercial traffic shall not be on this road and that road. I'm not saying that's the solution here, and I like Patty's
Signage.
question about where is it
Other place.
we'd like to have them go, or what's but I'm not hearing that it's just delivery either that's the issue. When you talk about running, or is it primarily delivery trucks?
no, it's primarily,
Combination.
what I've
Indication
seen
precedent.
predominantly is sedans, you know, regular passenger vehicles of various sorts, SUVs, pickup trucks.
Like I said, I disagree with that we can't, that doesn't mean we should. But, and I like your question of, so what is it we want them to do?
You have big trucks, and on Broadway, it's kind of dangerous too, because they're sitting up high and seeing people, I don't know.
It's very
But-
congested. I've seen a lot of
but the
left-hand,
neighbors-
right-hand turns take off side view mirrors and whatnot on Broadway. Now, I'm not saying that that makes it any less annoying that they're going down Hauser,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of times, when they are clipping these vehicles, the operator of the commercial motor vehicle, they don't even know. Well, like, I'll have to catch up to them and say, hey, you broke 3 mirrors, you
Have
know?
no idea whatsoever.
Yeah, they honestly, it's an honest mistake, and they just didn't know.
Could we also talk maybe about some of these other ideas?
Like the trailer, do you think, I mean, for
The what?
summer months or whatever?
I'm sorry, the what?
The speed trailer or whatever,
Yeah,
for the summer months, maybe?
Oh, you mean the thing that, has the sign that changes and tells you what your
Yeah,
speed is?
flashing, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
vehicle
kind of an
feedback
eye-catcher.
sign.
I've seen people blowing down, blowing the stop sign in the wintertime when the roads are clear. Of course, they're not, driving as fast when there's snow on the road.
Yeah,
But I've seen people run the stop sign and speed down Hauser in the winter
all
too.
year long.
I will say that in the wintertime, even if you are doing a practical speed on icy roads, you think that you are going, reasonably slow, that there's something about the intersection of Fifth, I'm sorry, where's the
Yeah.
stop? There's something about the intersection of Fifth and the city, I know Public Works, those guys,
We've standed it higher this year because
Yeah.
that's the one that you can touch your brake a block before you get there and still,
and
Slide through the
it'll push
line.
you through, yeah. And I know Public Works is on top of it, those guys, they work super hard,
and
but
we do
even,
have it set up so that if an officer calls Public Works and reports a concern, it's not a discussion, they stand it and let the department heads discuss it if they think it's an overreaction.
What if it's a line with the words stop?
Or slow.
Or
stuff.
stop ahead?
It should be stopped.
It should be stop. In
At the
other words,
stop
the
sign, it should
line,
be stop,
and
you
a
could do
stop.
slow up further in the block across from the park.
Yeah, Seventh or.
At this point, I'm almost hearing, accept the suggestion, let's move it on and let's see what we can, I can take it up with department heads and see what we can get enacted
I mean, maybe
before
that's
our next meeting, so.
the
probably
white
the
stripe with stop sounds like a good idea.
Because I don't know, what I'm hearing yet is a request for an ordinance change, or, I'm hearing some stuff that I can talk to I'm gonna not do it in a public meeting, because I wanna have an open and frank conversation. We do have an available portable feedback sign. There is a smaller variation of those like they use over in Cook City, that, we could look at getting some additional ones of those and kind of move around. I can make them aware of it, so they can do some enforcement. So there's some things we can do right now and talk to Public Works about painting. But I think those are all things to just take note of and let's move on. I think where it comes to this body is, are there things that require a change or a council move ahead? AKA, look at putting another stop sign in, or look at making an ordinance that says this type of traffic doesn't use this route. Or that to me is the part that's in here, and I like the troubleshooting and bouncing ideas off, but I think at a certain point, it's relay this on to
public.
mayor for administration and let the mayor take it up with Public Works and law enforcement.
I agree.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
I like the idea of putting signs up, says no commercial traffic, because it works for other towns. That is a state highway where the signage would have to be before, north of the roundabout, so, I think that's something that the state needs to come in on, to see what sign we can put up there. And then in the meantime, put that portable sign up. Just, it's summer, people are, using Hauser to avoid Broadway, and, just make them slow down, because it's summer, and,
And at least stop.
yeah, but right now, what we can do now is put that portable sign up, but I like the commercial sign thing, no commercial traffic. It works other places, it could work here. Can I,
Yes.
some of these we've talked about, one is that they need batteries, new batteries for those lights. And that we own things that really are not serviceable. I think you and the public works people said that. But down at it starts at the skate park, those past field schools, then you have the children's center, Boys and Girls Club, and then you have a sign. What I've seen is most effective was using those orange, posts or whatever, because you drop your kid off there and you have to run to work. So that's part of it, that's where we know, and I know the people down at the, Child Center, talked to somebody that used to work, he said, oh, we've been asking for that for years. But I did see some of it slow down when you alerted people. I don't know if that needs to be painted again, it needs to be in the contract with the people who use that, Boys and Girls Club, whatever. But, I would just encourage you not to forget about those things.
Ma'am, are you referring to like the, yield signs that we have on Broadway for the crosswalks, like
No.
those? Something different?
It says the state law is,
Yeah, for pedestrian traffic?
right, but then there's an orange one also.
Is there?
There's
Okay.
a yellow one that goes down Broadway, there's another orange.
We used to have we used to have a couple over by the Boys and Girls Club. Are they not over there this year?
No,
I was just over there the other night with my daughter at the park, and I didn't see them.
the,
No, ma'am.
yeah, I know they're not there.
Okay.
So they're just orange cones?
Not orange cones.
No, it's
They're
the
about
stuff we have on Broadway.
They're
There
small,
used to be a couple next to.
They're similar to what's on
Boys and
Broadway.
Girls. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like small barriers, if I remember. Is that right?
Well, there's a post about like this that goes up
Okay. Not just a regular
Orange-
candle?
Orange plastic.
with the
Yeah.
orange plastic. It's not a cone that are short.
It's like a post on a black platform.
For
Yeah.
Christmas Jones
Base.
to prevent parking, so.
Yeah, it doesn't say
there's a
anything
white
on it,
stripe
it's
in front.
it's just a warning, you see it,
Yeah.
and you go, oh,
Yeah,
something's happening.
So you're suggesting maybe putting one of those at the intersection with Fifth and Hauser, or two of them, maybe?
or
The whole
down
street.
the whole street, because you still need them at the Boys and Girls Club.
That's the pavilion.
And that's
has
where,
nice
I mean,
park.
it's amazing amount of kids, and in the summer, they bring in busloads of kids to use the park, which is great. But, you know, I think there probably was more than 250 kids yesterday. They're having a great time, they're enjoying, Red Lodge. But they're taking their lives, and
Okay, well, I'm sure that the mayor's taking notes over there, I can hear his.
Typing away.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, please.
Don't just, I like the commercial vehicle restriction, I think that's really important. But primarily, what I've seen as far as the speeding is concerned, not the big vehicles, it's
The local.
the passenger vehicle, locals or tourists or whatever, just using Hauser as a bypass, or maybe not as a bypass, just as a regular route to wherever they're going. But the vehicles that I've seen lately running the stop sign are passenger vehicles, and with the exception of that research truck. And primarily, that's what I've seen, and the ones that are speeding are SUVs and this little white sedan that I've seen.
As it pertains to speed, are you seeing the majority of speeders traveling north or southbound?
I'm seeing mostly going north, but some
Mostly
going
going
south.
Oh, going north?
North.
The reason I ask that is because people who've lived here for 40 years say that's north because it's uphill.
I know, yeah.
I just wanted to validate.
No, yeah, I mean, that one in particular
Towards Bill.
that triggered me to go and see Chief Schrock a week ago yesterday was, I could hear him accelerating. I couldn't see him, but I could hear him accelerating down there somewhere by the park, northbound. And blasted right through, like, he was easily doing 35, if not more than that.
So where's the 15-mile-an-hour sign you said, by the kids center?
Yeah, so the Lions Park playground area where there's that island
trail?
triangle.
Yeah,
That's-
okay, that's
Yeah.
where that
that-
15 is.
It starts there when you're going south, like towards the pass, and then when you're going north, it starts at the,
At the park.
it
When you're
starts
going
at the
to
hardware
It's field school,
right, when you're going north, it starts at, previous to the skate park, I believe.
I think so.
Or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It starts at the back of Ace Hardware.
Yeah, yep.
And it's obscured now by Canada red cherries, and I can't reach it to cut it. Whose responsibility is to,
To clear that, so
the
people,
ACE or the city?
that's a good question.
But if you drive by, you can't see it,
Yeah.
because of that Canada reds are right there hanging.
Over that
Yeah,
sign.
it's real high, so I can't go over there at midnight.
If it's,
Which she would do.
I know you-
There might be cameras.
oh, she would, that's fine.
But that, you,
I
don't know
understand.
who does the chopping.
That's a very good question. I've seen
Homeowner
the city
or
do it.
city?
I've seen the city do it, and I've seen private businesses do it. However, responsibility-wise, it is a city sign. Now, if I were to assume or go with my gut, I would say it's a city responsibility to take away the obstruction from the city place sign.
Well, it's
I would
hard
have
to
to
enforce things if people can't see it.
Yeah, yep. If you don't know, you don't know. I'll go take a look at it.
Yeah, I would love you to do that.
Yeah.
My concern with restricting, commercial traffic on Hauser, that's forcing them down Broadway.
Mhm.
Is that a bad thing?
It could go either way. It can go either way.
Everything has a equal and
They
opposite
could go down
reaction.
Wood,
Yeah, well,
down Wood, not Wood.
bringing a commercial
Oaks.
ve-
They could go down Oaks
Oaks,
and or
yeah.
Broadway.
I was gonna say a commercial vehicle down Ward Avenue North would be,
No,
that'd be a little
no.
spooky.
That'd be a little tight.
That would be.
A little bit.
Stop sign there at 8.
I just drive a little SUV for a work car, and even sometimes I get a little cramped up there, so.
But bringing up
Yeah.
word, you know, there was a stop sign put in front of Joanne Eaters recently, and,
Yeah.
and my suspicion is that probably that has to do with it becoming more of a bypass as well,
Yeah.
even though it's not as convenient, or you can't move
Yeah.
down it as quickly as Hauser.
Well, and that was part of the stop sign is to slow it down, it's speed control, that's
Yeah.
part of what it is, but.
Yeah, we received in that area, kind of the same thing as Hauser, a lot of speed complaints. And, one of the residents that lived there said that when Word Avenue North it kind of opens, you know, that's when people will step on it. Yeah,
Well, speed up.
Yeah.
they'll speed up. So I talked to, Mike Maples and the mayor, and we had the signs put out, 8th Street, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, 8th Street, and, for north and southbound traffic, so, but honestly, I would think, number one, my recommendation, I really like the painting the white lines out, or whatever Public Works says that they have to do, you know what I mean? That's a really good suggestion. Well, just, whatever laws those guys have to abide by, I'm not well versed in, you know, the color coding stuff, but, I would imagine white, because you go to other municipalities, normally they are white.
That's what you're used to seeing elsewhere, yeah.
Yeah,
And then some forewarning signs like stop painted on the,
Stop ahead or.
stop.
And again, what
on the
we're getting
asphalt.
into is details that I think are for me to take up and discuss with staff, and I've got those
Yeah.
notes there.
Yeah, so we have a lot of really good suggestions, and, I mean, if we can't,
If you wanna put on your minutes for last time, follow up on, well, we can report on what we've been able to do
Okay.
at the next meeting.
Chair Connolly.
Yes.
I'd like to, we're probably gonna close this section out in a minute, but to, see if we can, see if the sign isn't busy somewhere else, if we can move it somewhere on Hauser. And then, I don't know if you do this, staff does this, but it's a state highway, and they might not let us put a commercial sign only.
I don't understand where the commercial sign that says no commercial we'd have to do an ordinance, but where is it you're talking
It
about
would be-
putting the
it would
sign?
have to
Because you
be-
said north of the
It would have
roundabout,
to be north of the roundabout.
and what would it
To
say?
alert people coming in, and we probably need one here for the trucks that come over Bear Creek Hill. I've just seen them, no commercial, how do you, I don't know how you word it, traffic. Or they say
You
like-
could say no commercial traffic, or commercial traffic use Broadway, or.
Yeah, it has to be succinct, you can't just have this long thing of just commercial, trucks, commercial trucks, and I don't know the rest of the word.
I would say, take a look at, because if it is enforced by other municipalities, take a look at what their signs look like and say, and make sure that those are code, you know, because I mean, like, if you want to put a sign up, depending if it's within the city limits of Red Lodge, depending on what type of sign it is, I mean, like, I know that we put up 2, we're looking at, putting up an additional 2 for vehicle speed feedback signs. There's a lot of red tape that goes with that, but those are digital, so, I mean, like, those are a lot, I would say they're more difficult, but in terms of, like, putting a sign in the city for commercial motor vehicle traffic, it shouldn't be as difficult.
It must be alerted before the roundabout.
Yeah.
Can I add that if some of these questions may be answered for you, if you go to the U.S. Department of Transportation,
Mhm.
and, there is so much information,
Oh, yeah.
private information, there's grants given to cities to do this stuff.
Mhm.
So anyway, there's more information that you can get on this.
Understood, thank you.
Okay, so
Thank you.
I think that maybe in the short run, we could maybe put up the temporary
Yeah.
Again, I want to caution council to say,
and
make a
suggest
recommendation to the
mayor.
mayor and then leave it at that.
Okay.
So we're making a recommendation, council,
To the mayor?
For the mayor to improve things.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Noted.
thank you, guys.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
And
it.
then, and then I would say, put on the agenda just a follow-up in 2 weeks, and if you guys want to come, we can talk about what we've been able to do, and if you've seen improvements and changes from there.
Oh, the trailers, yeah,
Well,
or the RVs.
Is there already
Park.
code on that?
Park for too long. Is that what you guys are talking about? The trailers parked?
Yeah, there must already be
There is
some
a
law
parking.
about how long can you put your RV.
Or any car.
So currently, we have an ordinance that a vehicle cannot be parked in one spot for more than 5 days. If you see a vehicle that is parked more than 5 days, then you can call dispatch and register at that. What the officers will do is they will go mark the vehicle. They do not take neighbor X's word that that vehicle's not moved for 5 days, but they will go by and look at it. It is their discretion as to whether they leave a warning note, or if they have observed and seen it there for several days, they have the option of citing. And then the second thing I was gonna say is camping in is a different thing. Camping is not allowed in the public right of way. So if you see someone camping, again, call dispatch and police will put that into their hierarchy.
what period of time resets the 5-day?
As soon as they drive it around the block and park it, it's a new count.
It starts over.
I
If
think
I-
we have one of those.
If I were to go and chalk the tire, and they go out and pull the car forward 10 feet so the chalk mark isn't on top of the tire anymore, they've moved.
I see.
Yeah.
And the only caution I have to throw out there is that ranks just slightly below child abuse and meth heads as far as utilizing their time, right? So we have it in there and they can go look at that, but it's our same officers that are handling all of those things currently.
Oh, sure.
But we're not meth heads, so this is very, very, very important to us. That's my argument. We're not in that group of meth heads.
No,
This is important to our way of life.
I understand where you're coming from. It's, I think what he's saying is that when those calls are stacked, and they're coming into the police department, if we have this active investigation going on right now, and then we have a parking complaint that comes in, those calls come on our
You have to
computer.
prioritize.
I understand. that.
Yeah, and I'm not, I am not going to say that it's not important, because it is. Especially if there's signs being blocked and stuff like that. Yes, that is taken into consideration. But the calls, and it's automated too through our CAD commands, the priority level of calls. But I mean, like, it's common sense on the side of the patrol officer too. I mean, like, we're not gonna drop a domestic violence call to go investigate a parking complaint. And the parking complaints are like the mayor said, they're a pain, because it's not that I don't trust the resident's word that this vehicle's been parked here for 2 weeks.
It just won't stand up in court.
That's it right there. So we have to mark that tire, wait 5 days, and if that chalk line has moved, I gotta call the complainant back and say, sorry,
They comply.
they moved. And I've seen it before too, where the vehicle doesn't even run, they'll go out and they'll push it 5 feet. And it's-
Oh, God.
Yeah.
and-
see
and
this a
people,
lot.
What about a power line going across the site? There's a power line going, this one in question, from the house
Yeah, that's
to the,
exactly what I was
so
gonna
that,
say.
well, it's hard to tell. We think the individual is living in the,
Okay,
Well, you can't.
You can
live
see
in
the power
it.
line
You
going
can't
up
live
underneath
in
to
it.
the
You
chassis.
can
Right.
unplug it.
but how do you prove he's living?
no, you can't, don't unplug it,
Don't unplug it.
please,
No.
because that constitutes potentially criminal mischief, and that's a criminal code, and we don't wanna go down
We
that.
don't wanna write that
It's
ticket
been
either.
there for a couple of
No.
Do
months.
we have something against draping it across
Yeah, I
the
just had a
sidewalk?
question real quick.
Oh, I would,
Oh, the sidewalk, yeah. Thank you,
Didn't
Ann.
we discuss this in the past?
I would think you can't block public right of way.
yeah, it's
Well,
it's a public walkway, now it's,
But you see the cord and they've got it all taped down so you can't trip on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if this one's taped down, but I mean, you can see it clearly coming from the house and up underneath and to the vehicle.
okay.
I don't know, it's just, I mean, it's obvious it's being used for something other than just,
I can honestly say, in, 18 years of being a cop, I've never had a call where somebody's complaining about a power line going across the sidewalk. Is it a citation? To tell you the truth, I'm not really sure. Is it a really impolite thing to do if you are running power to an RV? Absolutely.
well, the only reason you want to run power to an RV, I think, is if you're living in it.
Exactly.
Spending a lot of time.
I don't know that, I'm just doing some repairs and I need a power to plug in.
For 60 days?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, what I'm saying is, just because you see a cord I don't think you get to jump.
Yeah,
Well, I think you
it's,
do if it's for 60 consecutive days.
Yeah.
no, I understand that, and it's one of those things where I want everybody here to realize that people don't always tell the police the truth.
Wait.
No. No.
Yeah, and it could be,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to say something to the residents of Hauser, that I have anecdotal, personal, proof that it works. There was an RV parked across the street from me, right in front of the stop sign. I called dispatch. I said, you cannot see the stop sign going north by the Catholic Church. And, when an officer came over, knocked on the door, and they moved it. So positive proactivity works, so.
And I will say that this trailer does block that 15-mile-an-hour sign across the
I was
second
gonna
house.
say, as a local, I never see that 15-mile-an-hour
That's right.
sign until it's already.
May I-
You mean the RV folks?
Yeah.
May I
Well,
please,
and trailer.
may I please,
Oh, yeah, the trailer's on the back, I forgot about that.
Yes, chief?
may I please get the cross street in which this RV is parked?
Sixth and Hauser, North Hauser.
Okay.
I have
Um,
a license plate if you want.
Real quick too, to touch on one thing that I was asked at the beginning of the meeting, Miss Ann.
Yes.
As I looked at our previous caseload over the last couple of weeks, we haven't had any major drug arrests. We do have several ongoing drug investigations. We're currently sitting on 259 calls for service this month, and, Sandy, no noise complaints. I looked.
Wow.
I verified, so no noise complaints for the Songwriters Festival.
There were.
Thank you.
There were not.
There were not, okay.
No,
Well,
which I was
The
in
wild
that.
and crazy songwriters.
Well,
Yeah.
because they're used to, sleeping during the day and doing music at night.
Jam.
And so they could be jamming at night, and I know that I talked to them last year, and they said, oh, we jammed till 4 o'clock in the morning. So I was
Holy
wondering if there was
smokes.
any noise complaints this time.
No, I was in Red Lodge with my kids on one of the very busy days where there were simultaneous events going on. And there was a lot of people, but it did not seem out of control.
Doing like it right.
Yeah, there were
Did
a
not.
lot of people.
Yeah. I
That's good.
forgot what we were doing up here, but I remember I actually took note. I was like, holy smokes, there's.
Yeah, it's well attended, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Extremely well attended,
That's
Schools
awesome.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
really good. We're almost on the map.
At the Renaissance Fair, you
The
you couldn't even hear what was, there was no noise, it was pleasant.
There-
You can usually hear the rodeo.
The
Yeah,
crowd-
and
Oh,
the
yeah, I
carnival
can hear
is
it from my house.
actually
there.
for the Renaissance.
Yeah, it's amazing, what happens when people show up to work. The organizers, those poor guys, they had all the logistics and everything ironed out for, previous years, and then nobody showed up. So, I mean, there was one guy that was trying to mitigate jams with 20,000 vehicles over a period of 2 days.
I'll head it up to everybody in a second, I'm just.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you for
time.
for coming.
We took up all your meetings.
Well,
Oh, you're
And I
fine.
think I'm gonna go ahead
That's what it's here for.
and call this meeting closed,
Adjourned,
Oh,
adjourned.
8:49.